it's time to hear from TAPA EMEA's Board of Directors as they discuss the association's progress in 2024 and what they hope to deliver for members in 2025 and beyond. And I'm delighted to say that we have 6 board members with us in the studio today. So if I may, I'm going to split this session into 2 parts just so that we can all fit behind this desk and into this brilliant studio. So joining us first, it's my pleasure to introduce Leonie Buthey, Boom, and Gino, Laios. Thank you all for joining us. Do come and join me in the studio. Thank you. And we have this microphone. So if I could ask you to share the microphone. Gino, maybe let me start with you first. How do you see the role of TAPA EMEA and TAPA globally in driving industry standards and excellence, given the constant change of the environment, especially as supply chain starts to be at the core of all international trade? And how can companies start to measure success?
Thank you, Sam, and thanks for inviting us here, and hello to everyone. I think I'll pick up on something that Antonio kind of left there because he made a connection between the rail and how we are working with our colleagues in the other region. I think how we can help and drive this is basically understanding the environment and what is happening around us. I think for some of the people that they forgot that we had the COVID, I think that the era post-COVID, I think it's kind of showed how the companies that have been able to be really pioneering a little bit that at that moment or before that have been able to kind of navigate further down. I think COVID has not only talked about disruption, but also has shown how much security is important, because at the end of the day, I think it made a bit of a difference in the companies that were able to use the power of what TAPA is providing and being prepared for that. In essentially, as we talked several times, is every product is important for someone at the end of the line. So if you are not getting prepared ahead, if you are not doing the right things at the beginning, it's very difficult to actually serve your final, let's say, client at the end of the day. We are all receivers of a product, of something that we need, so that's essential. And I think this is where TAPA can make a huge of a difference. Might not be really seen by, I would not say most of the people, but quite a number that we are still waiting for them to join us, whether it's in EMEA or in all the other regions. But I think that's very relevant for what we are seeing. And I think if we look a little bit of a geopolitical situation around the globe, the environment that will not get better. So I think TAPA standards and the resilience that we are promoting for that aspect is going to become, and I think is already is, it's a competitive advantage. So you are either on one side of competitiveness or you are not competitive at all. And I think TAPA has a very valuable proposition for its members and beyond.
Thank you. We've had lots of questions coming in ahead of the conference and today as well, so we've got lots to cover with all over the place, lots of different things. Leonie, let me come to you next maybe with one of those. How challenging a year has 2024 been for supply chain security professionals, and how do you see the market outlook for 2025?
Yeah, thank you, Sam. First, I want to say that I'm very excited to be here. This is my first time in the studio, and it's really nice to see the team. So thank you for inviting me. Back to your question, I think 2024 has been shown a lot of supply chain disruption, geopolitical situation, obviously in the Red Sea and Ukraine, Russia, also labor shortages, extreme weather. So all of those are adding challenges to the security professionals. So I think the security professional needs to be more agile, adaptable, creative thinking out of the box, and obviously TAPA standards is really useful in those situations. Regarding 2025, like Gino said, unfortunately, I don't think this situation will be better. It's still very volatile. I think we will see also artificial intelligence coming in, where we're going to have more data-driven strategies, which I think this could also be a plus regarding supply chain. But let's see.
Thank you, Leonie. App, let me come to you and then I'll come back to you, Gino. From the full-time team's perspective, what's the main thing that you need from the rest of the board to keep delivering more benefits for the association's members and growing TAPA's presence across EMEA?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this might maybe need a little bit of explanation towards the audience. Many people, of course, not aware that we function as a one-tier board. So we have 5 non-executives who are chosen by the members, which are rechosen every 3 years. We have elections. And then we have 2 executives in the board. So the board is consisting of 5 non-executives and 2 executives. And then as said, since the decision in 2020, we employ a full-time team. I like to call that a professional team. And of course, all the others are also professional. These are people who are busy every day with the interest of our members and supply chain resilience. That means we spend around 400 hours per week to the goal of our association. And I think the main way we act in the full-time employment team is trust. So what we like to get from our members, what we like to get from our non-executives, is the trust that we have everything in place to have the association being directed as it should be and in the interest of the members. So it's one simple word, and that's trust.
Thank you, App. Gino, let me come back to you and to pick up a little bit on that. What is your takeaway as a member of the board from 2024 and what should we look for in 2025? And then Leonie, I'll come back to you.
I think personally for me, being part of the board it's also it's a representation of an industry, but it is also, I would say, a call that was made to me from the executive board members as well, just to join so that we are together, as App has rightly mentioned, we are making the next steps into the future. And I think I can say after a year, and we've been a couple of times together, and we're actually meeting every month, although it might just sound not realistic, but that's the reality. I've seen like month by month as we were just doing progress, and I think what the team is going to present either today or in the future, I think the members will actually see how that kind of evolves, and being part of that evolution, I think this is exactly what all the members of the board wanted to be in and they were expecting to be in. So I think if there was something that was delivered or we were expecting to be delivered, that was definitely delivered. And I think everybody comes with a wealth of expertise. I think we are benefiting from different experience, point of views, balanced, professionally driven people, and it is a place where we are actually having conversation rather than debates. So at the end of the day, we are actually getting to a point where we say that's where we want to go, and there is a full agreement among us. And I think me being part of that, and I can speak from my own experience, has been an absolutely journey, and we're actually looking forward to the next years, of course.
And where do you think it is that we want to go then, to pick up on that conversation?
I mean, Thorsten kind of tricked us this year in June, told us that we are going to go on the moon, which we know it was not true. But I think it's only yourself that kind of puts a bar where you want to, what you want to achieve. And I think we haven't put a bar, but we are relentlessly going towards developing and I would say expanding TAPA, and goes into the things that I've said before, Leonie and App has mentioned, and I'm sure all my other colleagues are going to express.
Leonie, looking ahead again to the next year, what would you say will be your personal focus within TAPA EMEA?
I would say that volunteers are very close to my heart, and for me it's really really good to see all those efforts they are putting. They all have a daily job, and it's not a light daily job, and on top of that they're really willing to put all that extra effort for the TAPA, and we see it in how TAPA is successful is also thanks obviously to the volunteer. So for me, I'm very thankful about that.
App. Let's come across to you now, because I know that there were a number of regional conferences in 2024. How were those regional conferences received by the audience, and how did it contribute to logistics risk resilience?
Yeah, very good question. And the regional conferences are proving that we earn the trust of the members, because we have been in South Africa, we've been in Spain, and we have been in Portugal this year. And of course, we visited some of the security fairs in Europe. To stick to the regional conferences for our regional members, so we saw in South Africa around 200 member representatives. In Spain we saw around 120, and in Portugal, which was very successful for such a small country, we have seen 70 member representatives or interested parties in TAPA EMEA. And when you speak to all these people, first of all, it's very nice to be there, with the grounds on the floor and to speak to our members and potential members. And then when you speak to them, they all get this wow feeling, this aha feeling, as I call it. When they see what we are doing and how we help to build their security in their supply chains and make their supply chains more resilient, then it is precipitated in a very good way. And for me, as a board member, I think it's very important when we see around 500 member representatives or potential members, and each and every of them will speak to one or two other people. The spread of the word is very large.
And so looking ahead to next year, are there more plans for more regional conferences yet?
Yes, it's very difficult to already talk about this because, of course, we need to speak in the board about this, but I'm sure that we will go to Poland next year. First of all, we have our regional conference quite early in the year, so you better be there in Düsseldorf in April. And then we're talking about Poland, we're talking about France, we're talking about Italy, because that are the main things. And that's then the E in EMEA. We're definitely interested to go to the Middle East, because I think our footprint in the Middle East can be enlarged. I'm not saying that will be in 25, but maybe in 26. For the last 2 years, we've been in the African continent, and I think we want to continue that. But now maybe with a focus on the middle of Africa or the north of Africa. So yeah, there are a lot of plans. All of this must be done in the time we have available. Everything we won't do in 25, we will do it in 26. But for sure, we will come to the regions in 25.
So stay tuned for more information.
Absolutely, yeah.
If I may, I would like to take the opportunity to announce the French webinar that will take place on December 16. It will be held in French language, and more announcement and more detail will come. But I just want to take this opportunity already to announce it here.
Thank you. And it's so important to be going out in different languages as well. And why is that so important, do you think, to the members, Leonie?
Yeah, I think it's really important that we get to that level with our members as well. Not everyone speaks English, right? And we need to be target also all the different person as well. And this is really good that we have that visibility to actually do that.
Gino, I have a question that I'd like to ask you, but I'd also like to ask Leonie the same question afterwards. From your perspective as a board member, but also representing a member of the association, what's made the difference to you and your company this year from TAPA?
I think, as we are, I would like to believe, early adopters as such. I think this year for us has meant essentially taking the new standards and then just going through a full review and revamp of our company standards. And again, I think I've said it before, we do have a specific supply chain security standard in PMI, which is constructed on the base of TAPA. So that's our backbone. We have moved only for specific things which are industry, but not changing it. And one of the other things we have been able to do, and I think that is a testament of how TAPA has been seen, was to train over 150 people. That might just seem a very small number, maybe compared with other companies, but big part of this are not my colleagues into the functions, our colleagues that are in supply chain, our colleagues that are in procurement, our colleagues that are in risk management, our colleagues that are in functions like what we call operations customer service. So it's the people that are interacting with the business, and they are the link in between the supply chain functions. So the fact that has been requested by the business to us, I would not want to call it as a surprise, but I think was actually a proof that if you start and do it rightly, and then you apply what I would like to call a constant gentle pressure, the business understands what is good. And we also benefited from the results that we have had. So I think that's what 2024 has meant to us, and we are actually bound to continue in 2025, because we would love to train as many people as we want, but we have to take care about timing of the people, and in a big organization that's not always easy. But I think that's what kind of kept us busy and successful this year.
Leonie, maybe I ask you the same question. From your perspective as a board member, but also representing a member of the association, what's been beneficial to you this year from TAPA? What's made a difference?
Yeah, sure. So what we put in place this year was having more and more of our warehouses being TAPA certified. So we currently had already 2 in the couple of months, and more to become at the end of this year and also next year. And next year we're going to put a lot of focus on transportation security, and we want to also have better contractual agreement with our third-party carrier using also the TSR standards.
Let me come to you. Before we finish off, we've got a couple more questions. How are membership numbers evolving? Every time I come, I'm amazed by the progress you're making. Could you bring us up to date with those?
Yeah, it's fantastic to be part of that model. You know, each and every year we grow with double digits, which means that we have every month between 10 and 50 members joining. And that's great. And it's in all parts of our region, and it's all part throughout the industry. Of course, there's a little downside. You know, we are an association, so we're not completely very strict on the payments of our members, which meant that we have, as already said in the AGM, that we had to correct our member numbers this year. Unfortunately, we had some members which we had to tell, listen, if you don't pay your debts, then we need to let you go, on the advantage and interest of the other members. But still, the numbers are evolving in the right way. And we still have good hope that we will announce our 1,000 member in the 25th anniversary in Düsseldorf. Yeah.
Exciting.
It's going absolutely in the right way.
Exciting times. A final question for you, Gino. What role can manufacturers play in getting LSPs to comply with the TAPA standards?
Well, I take the example I just mentioned. I mean, we have taken the TAPA standards as our standards, and I think that kind of gets us into the right spot, whereas the LSPs that are working, or they are satelliting around the entire ecosystem, around our supply chain, are essentially required to have that. So I think that's the role that you play, and it's not the role that it's related to your own procurement processes, but it's like I mentioned before, is actually securing that your product, irrespective of what that product is, it gets to the final customer. I think, and we had a discussion, which I'm sure is going to become a 2025 type of a thing. It's also something that we might see being touching sustainability, which is a big buzzword, but not only, because that's actually very important. So I think that's a major focus point that we'll need to continue to have.
Did you want to add anything to that, Leonie? Because I could see you were
fully
nodding. Okay. In which case, we'll come to App for a final question, just to talk about the Constitution to close this session. Are there any changes expected to the Constitution?
Yeah, we are discussing at this moment to update the Constitution to the level which is needed in 2025. And of course, we do, as we are obliged to in an association, we will come to the members for member consultation. The main thing which we want to change is the moment that you end your membership with TAPA EMEA. It's now by the end of the calendar year. You can imagine we send the invoices for the new year by the end of the calendar year. So then we see a peak in terminations. So we want to early up that moment. And we still have in our constitution membership advantages which are not completely, without getting in further details, not completely the same for each and every member. And to be compliant, we're going to change that also. But as usual, as I said, and to wrap that up, we will come to the members for a membership consultation on this.
Leonie, App and Gino, thank you so much for joining us. You've made some really interesting points and clearly very exciting times ahead for TAPA EMEA members. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.